As you can tell from the title, yes, I got banned from Hinge. So I never thought that I'd be making this video right now. Never really thought that I'd be in this type of situation. As you can tell from the title, yes, your girl got banned from Hinge. I can explain. It wasn't really my fault. This video is really just an update on the initial video I made called Why You Should Delete Hinge. This is another video explaining why the hell you should delete Hinge. With the past video that I had made addressing, why you shouldn't be on Hinge, it got a lot of mixed reviews. The girls that get it, got it. And there were some that were pretty butthurt as if they were on Hinge, matching with me, dating me, talking to me. But for the most part, it was well received, I guess. There were some people that were upset. There were a few that were saying that I need to lower my standards because they were offended that I had made a joke about how Elon Musk guys or Elon Musk looking guys were liking me on the app versus me really wanting a Damson Idris looking type of guy to match with on the app. I don't know why people took offense to that. If you are attracted to Elon Musk and I offended you, I am not sorry. Hello, look at this man. That's besides the point. I refuse to lower my standards. I don't think my standards are even high. I think I'm a very accepting person to a fault sometimes. I will self-admittedly say that, the people that I go for are not necessarily the most outstanding citizens in our country. They have some flaws here and there. I think it adds a little spice. I'm trying to change that, whatever. People said I need to lower my standards. Some people were trying to talk as if they're relationship gurus. Just because you lowered your standards does not mean I'm going to lower mine. One comment that was the funniest thing to me that I feel just overall summarizes the whole point of my first initial video was someone that commented that it just sounds like I'm a serial ghoster with ADD. Real. Basically, yeah. Yes, I cannot disagree with that. I did have a problem with ghosting to an extent. I feel like I didn't really even do a great job in explaining why I would ghost people. If you don't know how to have a conversation, I'm not going to be the only person that's carrying that conversation. You know what I mean? If you are just giving dry responses, I will not respond at all. I'm not going to waste my time like that. I don't consider that necessarily ghosting per se. Moving forward from that video, I decided that, I reflected. I was like, you know what? I need to make some changes. I need to date with intention. And so the past month or so, I've really implemented these new methods to dating because, to be honest, I feel like people forget that not everyone knows how to date. Especially if you come from an immigrant family or just a strict family and you weren't allowed to date, when you were growing up and, you come into adulthood and you have this freedom to date, you're not gonna know how to fucking date. And I feel like a lot of people forget that. And so I come from that type of background. So for me, in my adulthood, as I'm dating, I'm going to go through a lot of trial and error. You have to experience to learn, and this is all just a learning experience. But I did come across this one guy on TikTok who just gives tips on dating. And I think they're really nice tips. Some changes that I made to dating when it came to Hinge is that I was now going to start having a roster of more than just one guy that I'm talking to. And when it comes to dating, for me, dating means that you're just dating. You're going on dates, you're talking, you're having fun. There's no, fun time involved. And so in the past, what I was doing is I was talking to these people, but I'd really just hyper focus on one guy and put all my eggs in one basket and then be disappointed, be sick of dating, stop dating for months, and then the cycle will continue. With the dating advice guru that I found on TikTok, that's one of the main advice that he gives to women, is that you never just want to be talking to one guy, and you also want to be talking to a variety of guys in order to understand what you like, what you don't like. So he says that it's important for women to not just date the 9s or the 10s, is you need to have a variety of men. You want to date someone that maybe isn't that attractive to you, but he's emotionally intelligent, he has a good career, blah, 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 you know, good personality. And then you also want to date someone that is maybe a 9 or 10 and maybe he's not as stable. He says you just want to kind of have that variety. Once again, you're not having any physical fun time when you're doing this. And what I realized from doing this is that you might find it harder to find guys that are willing to invest time in you without there being any physical intimacy. Like, the minute you tell a man what your intentions are and they don't involve any casual fun time, they will run for the hills, girl. Like, it will be like they never existed. They will leave so fast if their intentions, you know, are to just, you know, fuck you basically. And one of my goals was to have better discernment as well. Now, did I excel in all of these new tips and tricks? Absolutely fucking not. Obviously, I got blocked on Hinge. But this is just kind of leading up to how and why that happened. So with these new laws in place for my dating life, I did go on 2 dates with 2 different people. The first guy, we're gonna call him Mr. Responsible. He was older, he had a career, super sweet guy, super respectful, not necessarily my type, but I still thought he was cute. We went on a date and it was honestly such a fun ass day. I enjoyed it. It was super fun, super charming, but I just didn't really feel any romantic connection there. Honestly, I felt more of a friendship vibe, and I know he's not going for a friendship type of relationship. So things just had to kind of end there after that first date. But the date was like an 8 out of 10 if I had to rate it. We move on, whatever. Second guy that I went on a date with, we'll call him Mr. Red Flags. So this is where I was kind of getting confident in my discernment, right? So with Mr. Red Flags on our date, he was just super distracted, like super distracted with his work phone, and he like left once or twice to handle some things, which is fine. But I'm just kind of like, dude, what the fuck? And even before we went on our date, we had agreed to meet at this one specific time, at this one specific location. Literally 10 minutes before the time of our date, I was about to head out the door, and he's like, hey, can we reschedule to an hour later and at this place? And I was just kind of like, okay, like that was strike number 1 for me. Number 2 was I came looking super cute, okay? It was super cold that day. So, you know, I was wearing a jacket and stuff, but the outfit was cute. It was sexy. It was not elegant, but it was cute and sexy with my little jacket on too. He did not come looking cute at all. This man had a hat on, some joggers, a hoodie. Mind you, it was super cold, like super cold. So I was a little bit lenient on that. But still, I was just kind of like, why are you wearing gray sweatpants right now? So that was strike number 2 for me, was like, you're not dressed to impress. You look like some random guy at Trader Joe's, but whatever. I was more attracted to this guy, surprisingly, compared to the other one. He had a career as well. I wouldn't really necessarily call him a gentleman, and the date was not fun. It was not good at all. He kept talking the whole time. I don't think this man even knows a thing about me, because he just kept talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And this man just said way too fucking much. Like, he was talking a lot about his exes. Like, I didn't know this was a therapy appointment. I could have sent you an invoice if it was so. And I told him right off the bat when we were diving into the whole, like, what are your intentions? Like, what are you looking for? I told him right off the bat, I'm like, hey, I'm not looking for anything casual. Like, I'm looking for something long-term. And I could just tell that he was trying to mimic my answers. She's like,
oh yeah, I'm looking for long-term as well. Like, a lot of the girls I've been with in the past, they just weren't serious when I wanted to take things the next step. And especially with this one girl, but she was 19, so she just wasn't really trying to get into anything serious.
mind you, this man is 26. What do you mean 19? Who's 19? When I heard that, in my head, I was like, this is done. We're done. What do you mean 19? And then this man had the audacity, mind you, after I told him I'm not looking for anything casual, this man had the audacity to ask me what I was into. Why would you ask me that? You don't know me. Like, I'm pretty sure I made like the most disgusted face, or I had the most disgusted reaction, because he like tried to save himself. Like, I didn't even answer the question. I just kind of looked at him like, and he was like,
oh, I'm asking you because, a lot of girls in the past, when I would ask them, they just answer right away. And, I could just tell that, they were just down for anything. They were just down for, a short, a simple, like, they weren't down for anything serious. But the fact that, you're not answering is, I respect that because I see that you're serious, you're serious. And yeah, I respect that. But also, I wanted to ask because I just wanted to see if we're compatible, like that. My love language is physical touch. And so I just wanted to see that, we're compatible in that sense.
Sir, what the fuck? I was so appalled. Like, I just wanted to fucking leave. And so pretty shortly after that, we did end the date there. So things obviously did not continue from that day. Those were my 2 dating experiences since that video. You live and you learn, whatever, we move on. And so I moved on to this one other guy. We'll call this one Mr. Woman Hater. Didn't really have a career. He had a job, but it wasn't really a career. He was working 2 jobs, which is fine, get your money, get your bag. For some reason, we connected the most personality-wise. Like, the conversation just flowed really well. We could joke, we could laugh together. And mind you, like, I never met this guy once. We talked for like 2 weeks. Never met this guy once in person because, well, you'll find out. Things just really flowed really nicely between us. Like, it was a vibe. Like, we would talk on the phone at night. We would talk when he was at work. A red flag with this guy would be that he said a little too much too soon. Like, he poured his heart out too soon into us talking, that should have just been red flag 1, 2, and 3. Whenever a guy, and I realize this now, but whenever a guy tells you a little too much about him or like his sob story, it creates a false sense of intimacy between you and that person when you don't even know that fucking person. But he was just telling me his sob story about his past and how he's doing better for the future and how people judge him before they get to know him, and my dumb ass fell for that stupid ass story. We were talking, getting to know each other, and what I liked about this situation is that he wasn't asking me no freak ass questions like what are your preferences or whatever. Like, we were genuinely just joking, laughing. There were just little red flags here and there that did not register to me until after the downfall. We had one conversation at one point where we were opening up about our exes, which I feel like for not knowing someone, you shouldn't really be fucking doing that until like a month or 2 in, and this is like 2 weeks in. And he just had mentioned how she had lied on him, but he didn't really touch on it because he's like, oh, I don't really want to talk about that right now. Let's move on. But like, mind you, he's the one that brought it up. So I never even fucking asked. We ended up following each other on social media, like Instagram as well. And another red flag for me was like, he had reposted a meme where it addressed women as females. I just feel like any guy that calls women females, unpopular opinion, but I think you hate women. Like, I'm sorry, but that was not the only case of why I think he hates women. But if you call women females, like, that's just the biggest fucking ick. Like, why? Call them women. But anyways, it was like some meme stating females, blah, blah, blah. But it was basically putting women down, trying to hint that women cheat. Some bullshit like that. I didn't take it seriously at the time because I thought, oh, this is just like a stupid ass meme, whatever. That should have been red flag 5, right? The day that things went down is we had a conversation at nighttime. He was sick at this time, and so I was telling him how I hope he feels better, blah, blah, blah. And he told me that his dad had COVID, and so he probably had COVID too, obviously. I'd asked him, he told me that this was like his 3rd or 4th time catching COVID, which is a little fucking crazy to me. And so I'd asked him, I was like, oh, like, are you vaccinated? And he was like,
yeah, I'm vaccinated, but not because I wanted to be vaccinated. I did it because of my grandparents.
Which is fine. But then he started going on a spiel about how no one knows what's in the vaccination, and he felt pressured to, and how it's all bullshit, and that COVID wasn't as bad as they made it out to be. Mind you, this is how many people died from COVID. But that right there was like the start of the downfall. And I just kind of educated him. I was like, hey, you know, it is a serious and real thing. Obviously, you caught that shit 4 times. Like, how are you catching something that's not real 4 times? But I didn't say it like that. Obviously, I was more respectful than that. And so he was just kind of like, yeah, okay. Like, he was kind of dismissing me. And that was also annoying me as well. Like, he wasn't really open to hearing my side of things. He was just kind of like, yeah, okay, like whatever. And I was just kind of like, ew. I don't know how the conversation topic turned into domestic violence, but at one point it did. All I remember from how it started is he had made a bold ass statement about how women lie about being DV'd. And so I was just kind of like, what? He was like,
yeah, women lie about it. Do you know how many like women lie about this stuff, and it doesn't matter that it's not even fucking real, and it ruins the man's reputation.
Going into a spiel about how all women like lie about domestic violence, how it's not what it seems when it comes to that, and like how he doesn't believe all women, blah, 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 whatever, right? And so I'm like on the phone, stunned and shocked. Like, this point, the ick has turned into a ill, okay? The ick turned into an ill. Like, I was completely, like, turned off from this conversation just because he's stating that women lie about this type of stuff. He's going into his spiel, and then even mentions how his ex, you remember the one that he said lied on him? He was saying how, oh,
yeah, she lied on me and said that I, you know, hit her and all of that, but now she's with the guy that hits on her, and that's her karma.
And so when he said this statement, y'all, like, and this is coming from someone that has witnessed DV, experienced DV, so I don't take that shit lightly. If you wanted to play devil's advocate and say that some women do lie about it, sure, of course there are going to be cases of that happening. However, that does not mean that majority or all women lie about it, right? A lot of times women that experience that, they don't feel comfortable enough to share those experiences. And so by you stating such a bold fact of like, women lie about this stuff, you are making those women who are fearful even more scared to come out and like tell their stories. And it's just plain fucking ignorant, right? I don't even want to fucking get into that because I would be fucking angry all over again. But point being, the ick turned into an ill, and I no longer wanted to associate with this man at all. And then he explained the story of how he supposedly abused her. I mean, he did physically harm her. So, and he admitted to physically harming her. So what is that if not domestic violence? And then he also admitted to emotionally abusing her as well. And he's like, we were abusive to each other. Okay, so you admit to abuse. So what is this lie that she's telling then? I could not with that conversation. He was just not a fan of me opposing what he was saying. And he was just angry at me that I was saying that he was against women that experience DV. He was starting to like, once again, just trying to mimic my response. He was basically starting to backtrack his words, and he was saying that just because I say women doesn't mean I mean all women, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, bro, the way you were talking about it, you were trying to say like most women. And he's like, well, yeah, it is most women. And it was just fucking crazy, y'all. Throughout the conversation, he was not letting me get my words in. Like, he kept interrupting me, kept speaking over me, kept getting louder than me. And I was just getting so annoyed, y'all. And he was just like,
you know what, I don't want to talk anymore. I'm gonna go to bed.
I finally cut him off. I was like, hey, do you want to end a conversation right here, right now? He said yes. And so in the middle of him saying, have a good not, click, I hung up the phone. Yes, the fuck I did. Because you're not gonna talk over me this whole conversation, make a bold ass, wrong ass, loud ass statement about women who experience abuse, and then try to say that I'm using your words against you, even though they're the fucking words that came out of your fucking mouth. And then expect me to be all happy and jolly at the end of our conversation. No, that's not gonna happen. That being said, I hung up the phone and baby, I took my ass right to bed. Like, I literally hung up the phone, threw my phone across the bed, went to sleep, knocked out like a baby, one of the best sleeps I've ever had in my life. And I went to sleep knowing that I was never going to fucking talk to this guy ever again. And I was fine with that. Next day comes around, we don't talk to each other, don't fucking care. I'm like, oh, let me log back on to Hinge because I'm talking to this new chemist guy. And so I try to log on and it pops up with this message saying that I'm banned. Banned? At that point, I already knew who the fuck did this. Like, no questions asked. I know it was Mr. Woman Hater that had me banned from Hinge. And so I go look on Instagram. He blocked me off of Instagram. And so I send him a text and I'm like, bro, are you for real right now? Like, did you for real just have me banned off of Hinge? And he's like trying to avoid it at first. He's like, I'm with my family. I don't have time with this. You disrespected me. You disrespected me. I'm like, I disrespected you? Baby, I disrespected you. I asked you if you wanted to end the conversation right here, right now. You said yes, I obliged. Baby, that's the most respect I could have given you. Like, I could have been really disrespectful on the phone, but I chose to be the bigger person. I chose to just end the conversation right then and there. You didn't like that I hung up in the middle of you saying, have a good... No, baby, because I'm not gonna have a good night. Not as long as I stay on the phone with you. He was just like, you disrespected me. I'm too grown for this shit. And I'm like, you're too grown? You're too grown, but you took the time out of your day to go on Hinge and report me to have my account banned? But you're too grown. Do you know how petty you have to be to take the time to block all of my accounts, then take the time to go on Hinge, report my account? Like, what do you mean you're grown? Baby, you're a child. We just kept going back and forth. He said that he dodged a bullet with me. Maybe so. Maybe I'm the crazy one. And then he said the craziest statement, which was like, he's not a women hater because even if he was gay and I was a man, he would have still had me banned from the app. And I said, maybe you are gay. Like, I mean, it doesn't seem like you like women all that much. That's the reason why I got banned from Hinge, is because this guy said that I disrespected him. When I saw the ticket, or I got the email from Hinge saying like I needed to appeal my banning, it said that I was reported for being underage on the app. I'm glad that we never met up. I'm glad that things did not go further from there. And maybe I dodged a bullet, or maybe he was the one that dodged the bullet with me. I don't know. I don't care. That is the aftermath of Hinge. Maybe this is the end. Maybe the chapter is closed, you know? Now I really do have to go outside and touch some grass. Hopefully you enjoyed this little update. And yeah, do you have a similar experience of men being petty with you on Hinge, or women being petty with you on Hinge? What's your worst Hinge experience? Let me know so that I feel better about myself.